All right, welcome back to Leafs Morning Take. Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill here live on location at Sponsorship X. The following interview is brought to you by our friends over at Battlegrounds Axe Storing. Unlock the ultimate birthday party team building event or have a great date night with your significant other. To find a location and book an outing today, go to battlegrounds.com. That's BATL grounds.com as we welcome in the one and only Jackie Redmond.
What up?
Hi.
I'm so excited to hang with you guys in person.
It is a little different, eh?
Right?
You've been on twice, 3 times maybe?
Yeah, and every time.
Always remote.
On the internet.
Staple of the show, but like you're Carmen
don't know
San
about
Diego. Like where were you 2 days ago?
What day is it?
It's Thursday.
2 days ago.
Royal Rumble.
I don't remember. I was flying from wherever Raw was, Tampa, to Nova Scotia. Yeah.
I would just do a wrestling show with you. I wouldn't even talk.
I think we'd do a great job talking wrestling, actually.
should.
It sounds like a plan. Make
Like
it happen.
A bit of a tee up for tomorrow. You'll know this guy. Adam Copeland's coming on.
Edge.
Well, he's Adam
Not
Copeland
anymore.
Well, in my world, he's Edge. That's
not
all I
to,
can
eh?
say about that.
Yes, we don't want to get Jackie in trouble. Appreciate you stopping by. What's your feel? I mean, you can feel the buzz though here, eh?
Oh, for sure. I mean, for me, it's kind of weird because I lived in Toronto for so long. I mean, I went to college in Toronto. I then lived here for 7 years. So for me, it's a bit of like this weird, surreal, oh my gosh, this used to be my stomping grounds and now it's all-star posters everywhere and people excited. So I'm happy to be back.
So what do you got on the docket? You said you're actually not as busy as you usually are, which surprises me.
No, I'm not. I mean, I have a bunch of interviews today, so I'm excited about that. So those will air on the Jackie Redmond Show next week.
Nice.
So I'm excited to talk to some of the guys. One of the things I love about All-Stars, you never know who you're going to get. Like, confirmed guests aren't a real thing. They're just like, hey, prep for 35 interviews, and then whoever you get is who you get. But I always love Media Day at All-Stars, so I'll be taking part in that. And then I've got a few celebrity interviews mixed in throughout the weekend. But other than that, I'm hanging out. I'm catching up with people like you and enjoying the events, which is new for me. Normally, I'm on event level, behind the scenes, watching skills on a monitor and getting ready to interview guys for NHL Network. Same with the game. So for the first time in 7 years, I'll actually be in the bowl watching the event like a fan. So
Did you find interviewing these guys at this event, do they loosen up a little bit? Do they give you
Oh
more
my
goods?
gosh,
Like they're not
big
protecting
time.
their team and this and that. Do they let it loose a little bit for you?
Oh, it's like night and day. They're
nice.
way more open. And for me too, like I'm not somebody that exactly is asking hard-hitting questions all the time. I want to have fun. I want to talk about different things. So for me, it was always beneficial to be here just because I could ask more of the stuff that I wanted to ask. But yeah, guys are definitely looser, not taking things too seriously. They're not worried about their scoring drought or the losing streak that their team might be on, unless you're asking them about it. And if you're doing that at All-Star Weekend, you're kind of a
doing it
dink,
wrong.
you know? Like you're kind of a jerk.
I think you set a record, by the way, on Monday Night Raw for interviews. Did you keep track of how many people you interviewed on Monday Night Raw this week?
This week, I had 4.
It seemed like a lot more.
You know why it seemed like more? Because we switched it up a little bit,
Okay.
and I got to kind of throw back and forth with Michael Cole. So the hits were longer than they normally are. But yeah, four is a lot though for a backstage interviewer.
How are you enjoying sort of that transition? Obviously, you're still in the NHL world, but like I like the fact that you're like joining the two up, like hockey and wrestling. I think it's really
Trying.
cool. Yeah.
I'm trying to. It's so much fun. I keep telling everyone I've never felt closer to showbiz. It's a whole different world. What's hilarious to me is when I'm doing games for TNT or I'm working at NHL Network or I'm at an event like this and I'm talking to hockey people. It's like the WWE fans come out of the woodwork, man. They're like, yo, how cool is that?
It's
Blah.
so
And they talk to
cool,
me like, hey, do you want to do an interview where we talk wrestling? No, I don't want to be like public about watching WWE. And I'm like, come on. So there's a lot of WWE fans in and around the NHL, which has been fun to kind of uncover over the process of being there.
How about the wrestlers themselves? Did you ever talk shop hockey-wise with those guys? There's big fans that we wouldn't guess.
No, I mean, people know that CM Punk is a Blackhawks fan, but I am not exaggerating. The only thing we ever talk about is hockey. Like, he's a hockey nut.
Yeah.
He doesn't just care about the Blackhawks. He follows the league. He knows what's going on in both conferences, every team. He's boys with Jeff Merrick. He is in. Like, he is a puck nut.
And he's
Said
good too at
something
throwing
else.
them in the corner. It's true. No, you're right. I know where
He
you're
loves
going.
it. He loves hockey.
But he even mentioned in his thing, in his monologue on Raw, just the Tampa Bay Lightning. He knows how to fit it in too, and he knows how to build into the markets. I know last year he brought up the Islanders when he was at the, where the Islanders play at Belmont. So like he intertwines that, and I think it's really, really cool how you have sort of that mix. So last year at All-Star Weekend, Matthew Tkachuk was the big topic of conversation. When we look back this year, who do you think we're going to be talking about?
Ooh, whoever wins the Millie.
Yeah.
I think,
Is that a big
right?
thing for you? Like,
I think
are
it's
you invested?
awesome.
Totally.
I am
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah.
I am invested in who's going to win this skills competition. I'm invested in what they will say after winning the million.
Yes.
We've already had, some guys saying, oh, this person said that if they win, they're going to split it with the team and all this stuff. Like, I'm curious to see what the person who wins the Millie maybe says they're going to do with it. Maybe
King West.
Maybe they, every party drinks on me, so I'm curious to see that. And it's a different skills comp this year. And I know, a lot of people like to play cool guy and be like, oh, who cares? Like, I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think the fact that there's $1 million on the line will make it more interesting. And I'm just curious to see how it plays out, because in the structure of it this year, I don't know that the best all-around player necessarily has the advantage. There's so many different skill sets at play, and it's almost like there's eliminations, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't make the cut line, you're out, and then it's on to a whole new skill set.
There's also like 18 Canucks here too, right?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Elias
I think,
home now.
It would just be really funny to me if coming out of All-Star Weekend in Toronto, someone like David Pastrnak was like the star of the show,
don't
like
like
a
that.
Boston Bruin
I
just
hate that,
ripping
actually.
it up
Wouldn't
in
put it
TO.
past them.
I'm actually kind of rooting for it. Does that make me a heel?
No, that's sort of a
It'd
heel,
be a
yes.
great
A little
story.
bit, bit. I think it's going to be more competitive. Like the million for sure. Okay, I get it. But just the structure of it, where it's not just like, oh, we're going to go and do our lap and that last stride wasn't as hard as I could have gone. Like, well, I'm too cool. Like you said, these guys too cool.
I think in the first round especially, right? Because like
You don't
want to
get
12
knocked
guys. You
off.
don't want to be the first guy eliminated.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
want
going
to
on
have the
Survivor
points.
and being voted off first.
I think it's big
Loser.
time bragging rights, the million too.
Yeah.
I'm sure whoever wins it'll do something cool with it, or say something that I'm donating this, that, or whatever. It's going to be neat and not just obnoxious, like thanks for an extra milli, but they'll do something cool with it.
Imagine it was.
Oh,
I got my eye on this chain. I can't wait
see
to
ya
get
later.
it.
Straight.
Last
But-
cue. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for it. And I've been known to bash the All-Star break. Last year was a little bit gimmicky for me, but I'm legit excited for this because I think they're going to be going pretty hard. Like, they're competitive. They don't want to be the last guy to be like, well, fuck, my skills weren't really
I think,
there.
for a lot of people that think maybe the All-Star weekend or All-Star game has sort of like gone dry and isn't as popular anymore, you have to at least respect that the league's taking swings, right? Like
Yeah.
they're trying some stuff.
Not
And
much you can do,
some of
yeah.
it will work, some of it might not, but at least they're friggin' trying.
And there's lots of different people to please, right? The hardcore hockey fan and the kids, like we were talking about it. Some kids that otherwise wouldn't ever maybe see a game, let alone all these guys in the same building at the same time. Can you imagine being a kid that loves hockey but maybe doesn't have the means to go to pay whatever it costs for a bloody ticket, especially in Toronto, gets to go to this thing and see, like, it would just be like overload to see these guys' names rattle off beside them, and that's what it's all about. So I get the gimmick stuff, trying to get the kids involved too, but like you say, they're trying, they're mixing it up, they're not scared to change things up.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to try these things, right? And there will be people that criticize some of it, but I always have respect for people taking swings is my new, thing that I say. So good on the NHL. But are we going to talk about his Leafs rant from the other day?
So what'd you think of that?
I watched it 3 times. I watched it once and I was like, I gotta roll this back and watch it again.
You know the side story about that. So obviously we have a lot of creative in the show, and we think about stuff after the fact. And we're like, this might pop off. I just had an epiphany. I was editing the show, and I'm like, I just remember sitting there for like 3.5 minutes, just sitting back. I'm like, well, it's vacation day for Nick Alberga. Like, I'm not going to say anything, but this happens routinely on the show. And then I'm like, I got to edit this and put it online, and I did, and boom.
Did well, understandably.
He was right, though. I think the best comment I saw from that, by the way, somebody's like, that's 8 years of Leafs hockey in 3 minutes.
I saw that comment.
That was so
I'm a big
good.
comment reader.
Yeah.
Like I always
Yeah?
look. Oh yeah, like
Your
when
own
I'm looking
stuff?
Not
Not
my own
supposed to
stuff.
do that.
Just everything. Like if there's a video that pops off, as
Yeah.
you say,
Oh, man.
and it's hockey related, I am always curious about how people are responding to it. So I'll go in. I'll mix it up in the comments. See
I
what
like
people are saying.
things that are a little bit confrontational.
He has a couple hot takes sometimes.
Oh, fuck. That came out of nowhere, though. Like,
but
I don't
for
even
that
know what.
one specifically, like as a former player, is there any part of you that's like, the boys aren't going to be happy about this, or
It's
I
yes.
don't want to rip like particular players too
Yes,
much?
it's like this double-edged sword. Because when I was playing in Toronto, I was not the guy with all the pressure on his shoulders, obviously, but I was around the guys that were, and I felt it. And when you walk into that locker room, you're kind of on eggshells more often than not. Mm-hmm. There's usually some kind of alarm sounding that's not good enough, and people are talking about this, and the media is all over this story or that and whatever. It's difficult. And when people ask me what that was like, I was like, fuck, it's hard to win there, man. You are just scrutinized, especially
And now you're the guy.
the big boys.
He's the fucking
And
guy.
now I'm on the other side, and it's like, well, it's like, what do you do? Is it all just sunshine and rainbows? If they're rattling off cups, there's no problem, right? But they aren't. That's the thing. The biggest market in the world with the biggest following in the world that cannot get it done, that has the biggest block of winning that goes back to where no one alive basically even remembers. It's devastating for these people, and you got to say what it is. And if it,
You got to be real. You got to keep it real. And I think that for the most part, people would watch that rant and feel that way. But I think what makes it sting more this season in particular for Leafs fans is watching the Vancouver Canucks, who have completely just like turned on a dime.
They're frauds,
and
though. Let's
look
be
like,
honest. Vancouver.
Why are they frauds?
They're frauds.
Why? Give me a reason.
Well, New Jersey last year.
Yeah, but that's totally different.
Yeah, but once teams like wake up in the playoffs.
Jersey didn't necessarily have a goalie. Vancouver has a stud goalie.
Fair enough.
take them to school.
I don't know.
And a Norris Trophy caliber
I'm a
defenseman.
proud proponent. Like, you have to
back
feel
in
it.
them.
You have to take it in the playoffs before you succeed. And
What's the
Vancouver's
common-
just like
What's the common theme with teams that go deep? or win the
goaltending,
cup?
Jay.
I think defense, big,
That too.
strong,
Yeah,
rugged
you're right.
D, like nasty D. And I mean, Vancouver's got that in spades. Some of these teams are like, and you look at ours, and it's like, how do we expect to win when we don't have the formula that ever wins? That's,
And here's the thing: even if they had a more solid back end, or I mean, Samsonov's been great coming into the break, but like, how long is that going to last? Look at the Florida Panthers last year.
Yeah.
By the time they got to the final, they were hobbling in. They had I think Ekblad was playing on a broken foot or something. So like, they had all these guys with all these injuries. If the Leafs get through 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and somehow go to a final, what happens when the injuries start piling up? Who's stepping up? Who's stepping in? I don't feel good about that.
Lots of ifs, Jackie. And you want to talk about interactions. There's plenty of those in the Royal Rumble. I would love to see an interaction between this guy and Mitch Marner. That would be theater.
WWE style?
After he said last year Mitch Marner wasn't strong enough to lift the Stanley Cup. Never mind win
Easy.
it. So we'll leave it at that.
Ooh,
Jackie, thank you
wow.
so much for your time today.
You guys are the best. Thanks for having me.
appreciate it.
There you have it, Jackie Redmond. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.